You know, I was thinking about Vampire Saviors, Survivors. Why did I blunder myself right there? But we're trying this out, and we will, and not because I've been obviously since I have things unlocked, I've been playing it for a while, but I pretty much got it within the last 24 hours. So I would talk. Well, there have been more than enough people who've talked about the differences and the comparisons, so I won't go too much into it. But I guess I can if I'm going through with this. I have 10 minutes to do this, basically, unless I do another run. But you, the viewer, will be able to figure that out because based on the video length. But here we are, 10 minutes till dawn. I'm planning to get the actual full game, but this one is the free one that's available immediately. So hey. We're gonna give it a try. It's free, and I think the developer said it was going to be $3 USD when the actual 20 minutes comes out. So when I say 20 minutes, that's shorthand for 20 minutes till dawn, which is the quote unquote full game. I'd be doing air quotes, but I need both hands. So, and immediately you'll. I don't like saying that, but again, I didn't get specifically for minutes till dawn, which is what I'm going to be calling it, and I think that's even what the top. I didn't even mean to do that, but apparently that's what it, because there's 10 and then there's 20 minutes. In the full game, you'll still be able to do 10 minutes, but 20 minutes is I guess the intended length. But onto what the developers' intentions were. If it was a Vampire Survivors intended clone, or if it was a hard piece of work, I don't know. I don't know the developer personally, as I use my words right, and I don't have any connections, so I can only make inferences. But I usually don't like to do that. But if I do look objectively, and anyone can will reasonably make that claim, I have to say, run and gun, is that you have the experience and level at the top, you have someone in the center shooting, and then you have a timer at somewhere, and then you have HP. Granted, there are differences gameplay-wise, and you'll immediately notice that there's a bit more player input. Not that for Vampire Survivors doesn't, because there are now weapons that you have to kind of control, but this one is definitely more on you, both in terms of ammo and in terms of, yes, ammo is still unlimited, but you do have a clip that you have to work with, depending on the weapon you're using. And then your HP is not a value, which does change things, because the lower, I've said this in my World of Horror videos, but if your game uses basically less HP, so here I have 6 HP. Some characters have one character has 3, the other 2 have 2 HP. Let's take Vitality, by the way, and depending on your upgrades, you can get more. But yeah, that means you can't just run through things. Vampire Survivors, I will sometimes run through mobs to like get experience or start shooting everything in here. Here you can't do that because each point means more, which means you need to also be more responsible with your shots, because if your shots don't do any damage or they don't cleave as much, and by cleave I mean do a lot of damage to multiple enemies or AoE, then yeah, it's not good, because you're missing out on experience. Since there's only 10 minutes as opposed to Vampire Survivors 30 minutes, then you have to try to level up quicker. Though Vampire Survivors does scale as much too, so if you don't do things right, for those who are newer to Vampire Survivors, then you probably die at 10, 15, 20 minutes. Usually 9 minutes is when the game starts ramping up, but still, for Vampire Survivors, usually before 20 to 25 minutes, you have everything set up and you can kind of AFK. Minutes till dawn, you can't really do that, because the short amount of time means things scale quicker, and that you have more responsibility to level up as fast as possible. And then on top of the strat, or how you shoot things, means you need to also kill enemies quicker and more efficiently. So again, here you see me missing shots, but I'm kind of autopiloting right now. I should be actually level 7.5-ish, but I've left all this experience on the floor. Again, with 10 minutes, at least in this version, because that's all we have. Not that that's a negative thing, that's just what I'm saying. So with 10 minutes, that means collecting energy and defeating enemies means a lot more per minute. If you cannot do that, then you'll be underleveled basically, and you will die a lot quicker. That said, the way enemies mob you on the screen, as I've observed and played through, means that you'll usually always be surrounded in such a way, even if say I'm even clearing these mobs, sometimes I can. Usually before even 4 minutes pass, I can clear out the main mobs, but the way that mobs approach you and encircle you means that you're gonna still need to move and shoot things efficiently, otherwise you will be surrounded in short order, and that's not great. So again, and then you have the level up system, which, again, when you look at any game that is now being called a Vampire Survivors clone, you will... Oh, that's the mistake, but that could have been easily dodged. But yeah, the way the perk system comes up and you pick a perks on level up makes you look closer to a Vampire Survivors clone. Again, I'm saying that more objectively because that's just what we observe and play through when we play these games. There have been more, but Minutes Till Dawn to me seemed like the not better but more engaging one. It's still a different experience for the reasons I just said as well. Do I want burn or do I want lightning? Let's play with light weapon. I've never actually used light weaponry again. So just because I unlocked everything doesn't mean I've played with everything. But yeah, Minutes Till Dawn seemed like a more appropriate choice for me. So, and I think I've also said this before in more of my RPG Maker videos, but I've said it myself as well, where games that are both either cheap and or quick to play I think are more the way that most games should go. Again, that doesn't mean that you can't make AAA games that, require the player to sit there for even just an hour, but ask for 3 to 6 hours. Obviously, we know that Elden Ring just came out, so that's its own thing. But I'm saying that for most people, and especially for people who are indie game devs, try working with even if you have a couple of games under your belt, just make something that the player can play within 10 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes tops, but I would say even 5 to 15 minutes for a run or something like that. We've seen that in the... we've seen these things in the... I'm deciding whether they'll take rubber bullets. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought because I had to think for a moment because we're kind of reaching... At this point, a lot of people already start dying at this point for good reason. Even if you're playing Diamond, I mean, you can burn through all this HP pretty quickly. So, I'm just going to eat a bunch of damage here. But yeah, and then you get freed at around 6 minutes, but that doesn't stop things because the enemies also... They use... At the very beginning, these simple mobs only take... require like around 22 HP, 22, 24 HP, and now you can see they're not dying in that same amount. Maybe not too much, but it's still enough where you'll notice it. And if you're trying to clear people out of the way, yeah, they don't die immediately. So definitely leveling up. I wanted to be level 11 or 12, but even then, usually you don't have enough... I mean, if you're trying to clear the screen, you can, depending on the build. I've seen people do it, but yeah. It's not great. Most of the time, I personally will run into this. Once people have their strategies down, yeah, you'll notice that I didn't get rid of those immediately. I should actually be AoEing these things more, but I took a lot of HP and speed perks, so my damage is not as great. Though, again, for the sake of survivability, if I wasn't this fast, then I would definitely have died by now. For me personally, anyway. So, yeah. So we'll see how long. I think this is actually the longest I've gone in about 30 seconds. But the mobs are closing in. And I've seen people kind of go through, not min-max, but I guess technically optimized builds for both character or just character and perk loadout. But again, with perks you're relying on RNG to appear. If you're playing Shanna, obviously you get a reroll, but... If you're playing anyone else, you don't get the choice. So if perks appear, then no. But I haven't looked into it that hard yet. I just know that from what I've seen and what I've looked into here and there, then wow, I really would have gotten hit there. Cool. Also, as my voice breaks, also since I'm autopiloting, yeah. Or never mind, maybe I'll do better. Obviously, I've seen a lot of Hina traveling around the community, so I mean, listen. Crossbow Hina and then fire Hina. I've seen all kinds of Hina builds, so listen, one more time as I say that, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild what you can do. Oh goodness. But if nothing else, killing the horse boss that is in 10 minutes till dawn is pretty important for the big upgrade that you get. So again, unlike Vampire Survivors, usually killing boss nets you a chest that gives you a slot machine prize of usually a perk, something expected from a level up. But here, killing bosses actually gives you a different kind of upgrade, if that makes any sense. Though, yes, it is hard to kill for if you're doing a one-off for playing Minutes Till Dawn for the first time. It's not going to be easy, but once you can do it, and you can do it consistently, yeah, it's pretty important. Also, I should probably do this to get protection from the clone, since I only have 2 HP left so I got HP and then lost HP from from me taking the big upgrade, which at this point I think it's to my benefit to kind of just stand here. But when I get hit, I can only use it once. If I was Diamond, maybe, but freeze, more HP. You know what? Since I'm not going to be moving anywhere, again, you do have more responsibility, but it does make sense to, depending on the situation you're in, and if we get more stages, and depending on the characters you have, the weapons you're using, picking the right perks for the situation that you're in. So at a certain point, you might be going, well, I'm only shooting like 6 enemies at a time, so what's the point of getting bounce that bounces around, or enemies explode? Well, here you go. When you're at near end game of a run, and you have dozens of enemies closing in on you, then yeah, it makes more sense to get that, especially, and then you level up, your level ups get a lot faster at this point, so you will, you will be getting every perk, so by extension, being able to level up quicker means you'll be getting the rest of the perks faster as well. That said, yeah, so I'm going not the boring route, but I guess the brute force monkey route of Hina crossbow. The reason for that, if you didn't know, or if you're someone new watching this game, is because Hina, when you use Hina's special ability, she puts down a clone that does damage equal to the weapon that you're using. So obviously less effective true damage-wise if you're using the flamethrower, which only does 3 when you hit something, but it puts on burn. But if you use crossbow, which has a high starting base damage of 12 or 20, and depending on, upgrades, then your clone is doing 20 to everything around it. Here, after perks and stuff, it's probably doing like 30. Don't even need that, because I have perks that are making enemies explode on death, which means if there are 50 enemies exploding and they hit an enemy for like, 8 damage per, then yeah, everything around me is probably going to die. So, hey. Well, hopefully you've seen this part if you didn't quit out. Actually, we wouldn't be watching this if you had already quit out. So thank you for watching. I will leave everything at the end here, and I hope you want to support this. I'm not sponsored or anything, so hey, and you actually survive, as opposed to Vampire Survivors, where you're still going through a prog of getting killed by, I think, at this point, White Death. But hey, again, yeah. Minutes Till Dawn is going to be $3 in full. Otherwise, you can play the free version, which is 10 minutes, which is what I'm playing right now. And I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching.